All right, let us now answer VCAA 2017, Paper 1, Question 21. A printer was purchased for $680. After 4 years, the printer has a value of $125. On average, 1,920 pages were printed every year during those 4 years. The value of the printer was depreciated using a unit cost method of depreciation. The depreciation in the value of the printer per page printed is closest to what? All right, so many different things going on here. Let's first figure out what the total depreciation is. So we know that the original cost was 680, and then after 4 years, it goes down to 125. So if I subtract that, that means over the 4 years, we have lost $555 of the value. So that's over the 4 years. That's how much of the value of the printer is lost. If I now want to figure out what the yearly depreciation is, what I'll do is I'll take 555, because that's how much we lose over 4 years, and I'll divide it by 4. And that's going to give me the number 138.75. So that's how much I lose over 1 year. Now, why have I figured that out? The reason why I figured that out is because they've told me that every year, on average, we're printing out 1,920 pages. So what I can do now to figure out 1 page depreciation, so how much I lose per every page, what I can do is I can take 138.75, which is how much I lose over the course of a year, and I can divide that by 1,920, because that 1,920 is how much paper I've printed. So by doing this, I can figure out how much I'm going to lose per page printed. And I'm going to end up, once I put that into my calculator, 0.07226. So that is going to be the closest to E, 7 cents. Let's now look at the examiner's report and see how people fared with this question. As you can see, 53% of the state were able to answer this, which is not great. VCAA also writes a little note for us because it was so poorly answered. Let's read it through. It says, question 21. Although this was a standard application of the unit cost depreciation, almost half of the students were unable to determine the depreciation per page printed as required. The correct answer could be determined by calculating the overall decrease in the value of the printer, $55, and then dividing by the number of pages. Students who divided by 1,920 only would get the result this, which would have incorrectly been interpreted as 3 cents, leading many students to choose option A. All right. The way that they are telling us to go about it is slightly different. I might talk about it now, just for the fun of it. You can click off now, but let's talk about another way we could have solved this, because it's really important that we think it through, because VCAA loves to ask questions that people struggled with. What you can see that they've done differently here is that they've gone 4 times 120. Why have they done that? We didn't do that. So as you can see, what we did is we said, well, the total depreciation is 555. And then we went, all right, that's over 4 years. How can we figure it out over 1 year? So to do that, we divided by 4. What they did is they said, all right, over 5 years, the total depreciation is 555. So that's over 4 years. What you could do is you could say, well, if I have 1,920 pages, what's that over 4 years? So they figured out the total pages printed. They went over here. Total print. So they went, I've already forgotten what the number was. 1920. 1920 times 4. The total amount of pages that I've printed is 7680. Okay, that's the amount of pages that I've printed. So this is the total that I've lost. This is the total pages that I've printed. I could then divide them by each other. I would have to go, I've lost $555, divide that by 7680, and I should get 0.07, which is what we got here. So it's the same thing. One is just working by year, one is working over the 4 years. But I think it's important that we just stop for a moment and we consider that. All right. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Because that was a question that was not well done, well answered. All right. I'll see you in the next one.